Good day and welcome to Common Sense with Tom Schmitz. On today's show, it's Cop Talk with Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham. The Chief and I will discuss an all too familiar subject, school shootings. I'll also talk to the Chief about the multifaceted approach the police department takes towards experience inside the department, and we'll discuss domestic violence. But first, in case you missed it. In case you missed it, it's brought to you by the Riley Arts Center of Ocala, the premier performing arts center in our area. With concert events, dance events, and comedy events, the Riley has something for everyone. Before I get to what the events are coming up at the Riley, I want to thank everyone for the great turnout at this Sunday's last Sunday comedy night. It was a great success, and I hope everyone comes out next month for another installment of the last Sunday comedy night. But this Friday, June 1st at the Riley, it's Peter and the Starcatcher. Winning 5 Tony Awards, Peter and the Starcatcher is a play based on the 2004 novel Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson, adapted for stage by Rick Elise with music by Wayne Barker. The play provides a backstory for the characters of Peter Pan, Mrs. Darling, Tinkerbell, and Hook. For more information on this show or any upcoming event at the Riley Arts Center, go to RileyArtsCenter.com for an up-to-the-moment calendar of events. Ocala police have arrested a 29-year-old man suspected of using a broomstick to beat a woman, abusing physically and verbally, pointing a gun at her, and making her get on her knees to beg for her life. Donald Roberts was arrested Monday on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated battery, and kidnapping. Officers went to Ocala Regional Medical Center Sunday in response to a battery report. A woman there told him the day before Roberts had pulled her by her hair, dragged her to the ground, and kicked her in her face more than once. As she was being dragged by her hair, the woman said someone driving a truck tried to intervene. She said Roberts pulled a handgun from her waist and pointed at the driver, who backed off and drove away. The woman said Roberts dragged her to a residence where he punched her multiple times. He then grabbed a broomstick and used it to beat her, snapping it in half during the beating. She said then he took out his handgun, ordered her to get on her knees and beg for her life. He then placed the gun barrel up to her nose and threatened to shoot her, she said. She said he refused to let her leave the home. She escaped when Roberts walked away, walked to a nearby home, and asked for help. When told of the charges by officers, Roberts said he didn't know anything about that and told the officers anything that woman says is a lie. He was taken to the Marion County Jail where he was booked on those charges. That was In Case You Missed It, brought to you by the Riley Arts Center. Find them on the web at RileyArtsCenter.com. Now I'd like to welcome into the show a very busy man, but one who's taken time out to graciously be with us today, Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham. Chief, good afternoon.
Hey, Tom.
You know, you've been away for a while.
So stop. Why didn't you make the announcement that you had tried out for and were able to secure the role of Peter Pan and the play that's coming out Friday?
Do you think there's anything about green tights that I have to be a part of?
Listen, I heard the rumor that you were going to play the role of Peter Pan. I've already bought all my tickets. And I think Ocala will be impressed by your
you heard
the way you can stealthily. No, stealthily is not a good word.
Yeah. A guy who never grew up.
Right.
Why would you think that has anything to do with me?
It's everything to do.
At least you didn't call me Tinkerbell. At least I got to give you credit for that.
I don't know whether or not that was a thing that you wanted to do.
How about Captain Hook? Couldn't I have been the bad guy?
Nah, he never grew up.
And I'm not Mrs. Darling.
You kind of give me you have that air of Peter Pan.
I don't see me in tights.
You're graceful. You're very graceful.
I don't believe that's ever a word I'd use to describe me, graceful. But thank you for the indulgence.
So I'm hoping Ocala will join me this week on Friday at the Riley Arts Center to see his debut. Peter Pan.
I did notice you weren't there Sunday night for the last Sunday comedy night.
Was I in town? Where was I Sunday? I was at the lake Sunday night.
Yeah, and it was a show that ne'er an F-bomb was dropped.
No way.
Not a one.
More than one.
Not any.
No, really? Why is that?
The 2 comedians did a clean show, and by proxy, I was required to follow suit because I didn't want to do something that would be difficult. So
really?
I just basically walked down on stage and said, here they are.
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Got nothing, peeps.
Here they are. Deuces. So you've been away for a while.
I have been. Well,
but you've sent us.
I've been away from the show for a while.
Right.
I've been here.
Right. But you've sent us some very interesting interviews while you've been away?
I work with some very interesting people.
We had Sergeant Updegraff on last week.
Lenny's
prompted
awesome.
a lot of people to ask a question that I want to talk to you about
Sure.
later in the show about the multifaceted approach the police department takes. But
Sure.
one thing I need to start is this story we read about that I just read.
Right.
You and I have talked about domestic violence numerous times. Just from what you hear here, because I know that you know about the story, but just what you heard there, if that woman doesn't get away from this man, or if this is something that she goes back to, what chances do you give her of surviving?
0. He'll kill her. No question about it. I'm surprised he didn't already do it.
Beat her with a broomstick till the broomstick broke, shoved a gun in her face, and made her beg for her life.
Yep.
That's as close to not coming to killing you without killing you that I think there is in domestic violence.
Yeah, I would predict that if she does not get away from him, which hopefully she will, and hopefully she's getting the services that she needs, we certainly have referred her to where she needs to go. But if she doesn't, the next time we go to try to save her, if we can save her, it'd be great. If not, we're going to be working on homicide.
100%. I agree with that 100%. It has all the earmarkings of this woman either needs to get away or she's going to die.
And she needs to get it through her. She needs to get it in where she understands that. I mean, these guys are masters at manipulation and making people believe certain things, that he loves her and that he's just doing this for her and that he cares about her. He didn't care about her. If he cared about her, there was no way in the world he would do anything and he would do everything in his power to keep her safe. And beating her with a broomstick and shoving a gun in her nose is not keeping her safe.
And the callous way he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. She's a liar.
Yep.
With no care, not,
right.
Look, we got an argument, but it wasn't all that, okay? There's no gun to her face or anything. Trying to justify, look, okay, she came at me with an iron, so I used a broomstick to fend her off. Right. Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. She's a liar.
Now, hopefully, he'll go to jail for quite a period of time over this because they're felonies. And hopefully she'll continue to cooperate with the investigation and with the courts, with the court case. But all too often that's not what we see, and it's a shame because there's never a circumstance where what he did was justified. Never.
And that's the hardest part of this job on these domestic violence is getting her after the fact to actually follow through with the prosecution. Well, and I know the state attorney's office picks these things up. This is very serious, so sure. I know even without her testimony, they're still going to prosecute this. But her testimony would go a long way in convicting him.
Well, and the thing is and you have to feel incredibly bad for her, because even if down the road she decides not to, but it just shows you the amount of power and control that these guys have over their girlfriends, wives, significant others. That they're able to convince them, oh, he's a good guy. He just snapped. He went off the deep end. He really loves me. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. If he did, he wouldn't be doing that.
If he loved you, I mean, you have a very lovely wife who proves way more than anything that you way outkicked your coverage, and not once because you love your wife. Not once have you ever contemplated picking up a broomstick and beating her and dragging her across the parking lot, pointing a gun at somebody in the truck when they try to intervene. Right. None of that.
Well, and and the thing is, it's not that especially in my relationship with my spouse and your relationship with your significant others, girlfriends, spouses, that we haven't had conflicts. Certainly we have, but it's never resulted in violence because violence doesn't solve anything at all. And that's true in any relationship, even with friends. Violence doesn't solve the problem.
I hope this young lady gets the help she needs, and I know your department has provided her with advocates that could help her and everything. So I hope that she understands the seriousness of what took place over the weekend.
I hope so. If not, once again, it just shows you how much power and control these guys have.
Over the weekend, on Friday, there was another school shooting.
Yep.
Somehow, because I'm so now, and this is terrible of me to say, I'm in the media and I keep up with current events, but somehow I saw yesterday they were talking about the school shooting on Friday, and I just thought, I saw it in passing, And it's gotten to where it's so often now, I just was like, well, they're talking about some other school shooting. And this is one that happened, I think it was in Maryland, I believe.
Yep.
And it's become so commonplace now that I washed it away just thinking, it's just another one, that same one in Houston or whatever. Is it becoming to where it's happening so often that the public in general might start getting a callous attitude that way towards these?
I think so. In one way, I read a study this past week on the desensitizing of our society. The more you hear something, the less sensitive it is to people. And they go back to even the Columbine shooting, that once it happened once and it was blasted out there, it was easier for the next person to do it because it already happened, and the more they happen, the easier it is for others to decide that it's going to happen. Have you seen where the new video game that's coming out?
No. I'm not a video gamer, though. I'm not a gamer guy.
There's a video game coming out.
Like, I know some game, Fortnite, is real popular now, but that's only because LeBron James' son wanted him to play it or something. I have no idea.
This is how smart our society is, okay? There's a video game coming out it's either today or tomorrow, certainly this week. I saw this last night on TV. It's called Active Shooter.
What? Active Shooter?
And it's a school shooting game. It's a video game where you are the active shooter in a school. Yes.
Okay, stop.
Seriously. Google it.
You're kidding me.
No, I saw it on, well, now granted, I saw it on the media last night, you know how you media guys are, but I saw it on the news last night.
Okay, I'm Googling this as we speak, live on the air. Are outraged about new video game, active shooter video game lets players shoot up a school.
So,
what?
You doubt me?
No, I can't believe.
I sat there in complete disbelief last night about that. Now, in what they're saying, Tom, you're right. You ready for this? What they're saying is they're hoping that
it'll help you plan better by knowing.
No. It'll help the people that are going to shoot by allowing them to do this on video, and so they won't do it in a school. That's what they said.
Where did you see this at?
It was on TV last night. It was on one of the news channels.
This says a video game that lets players simulate a school shooting will come out on the PC's biggest platform for buying and selling games. Active Shooter from developer Revived Games and publisher Acid. Okay, that tells me a lot. And I'm not going to say why, but it just tells me a lot. It's set to release next week on Steam, the massive gaming platform run by Valve Corporation. It's quickly drawn a lot of negative attention.
Really?
You think? Including from outlets like BuzzFeed and Kotaku, as well as survivors of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland. Parkland activist Emma Gonzalez tweeted, Valve Corp shut down this shovelware immediately. Shovelware software that does nothing new and is a quick cash grab.
It's crazy.
What the hell is wrong with people?
We have lost our way. Our society has lost our way. Where not only have we sensationalized, in a way, the kids that have done these shootings by constantly talking about them, but now we're and a lot of people saying part of our problem are the violent video games. Well, screw it. Let's just go ahead and create a video game where it's okay to go into a school and shoot.
The developer points out that Active Shooter lets you either pick the role of elite SWAT member or active shooter.
I wonder if there's a way they can track
how many people are active shooters versus elite SWAT members.
Right. Look.
Okay. That without doing anything that would be upsetting the viewers, that's some. Well, you know that Italian adjective I said we didn't use.
It makes no sense why.
Yes, it does. It's a cash grab.
I get it, and I understand First Amendment and all that. I mean, well,
and the bad thing is,
understand First Amendment.
People are going to buy it just out of curiosity. People are going to buy it just because we're talking about it.
Yep.
We're doing exactly what they want us to do by talking about it. That's I had not heard of this, and not much makes me appalled. You know that. Not much gets to me because I think that in general, the human race is a bunch of sick, twisted people who I don't really like a whole lot. And they don't like me a whole lot, by the way.
I like you.
Well, sometimes.
I'll especially like you Friday night as Peter Pan.
But for this to be out there is ridiculous. And you know what else pisses me off about this? Makes me feel like my dad. Because when I would listen to 2 Live Crew and everything, my dad would go, "What is wrong with you kids?"
Right.
And now I'm like my dad, "What is wrong with people?"
All right. Take a breath. Relax.
An active shooter game that lets you play the active shooter. And the developer says, "Wait now, you can play the elite SWAT member too."
No, I'm serious. At some point, somewhere down in there, I'm sure, because I heard this on TV. I didn't read anything about it. That one of the things where they were saying that people will be able to get their aggression out in a video game as opposed to going out and doing it.
The video shows a shooter running through school hallways and classrooms while killing with firearms and grenades police officers and civilians. Through a score counter, the game tracks civ kills and cop kills. The developer responded to the outrage with a statement saying, "We'll more likely remove the shooter role in the game by the release, unless it be kept as it is right now." But it also defended the game, arguing there are worse games out there and that it does not promote any sort of violence.
How can they say that with a straight face? An active shooter game where you're killing people doesn't promote violence?
He literally, the developer said, and it does not promote any sort of violence.
Okay. I'm not, okay.
Especially that of a mass shooting. But you're counting how many civilians and how many cops you killed with grenades and guns.
Grenades. Yeah. Well, grenade wouldn't be a mass shooting.
Right. Well, but there's guns.
So
I had not heard of this game. This is ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. That's the
But this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we deal with. We deal with the aftermath. Right. I mean the unintended.
Because now I'm so good at it on video. Let's go see if I can do it at a real school.
I was going to say unintended consequence of this, but we all know what the consequence of this is going to be, right? And that's something that we have to deal with, and you know, parents and teachers and kids, and it's crazy. You know, our society has lost our way.
I know. You've ruined my Tuesday now.
Hey, mission accomplished. Right, that's my mission every Tuesday I show up.
I got to try to reach out to this company, see if I can get a developer to come on the show and give me a comment or something. I doubt it, but we'll try.
Yeah, maybe they'll do your show right after they do Good Morning America or
before
Fox
News. They'll probably do it
before.
Yeah,
something like
probably
that.
Probably do it right after. They probably have Roseanne on with her comments, and then this game developer.
The View.
The View. I'd love to see them explain how this game's okay on The View. Well, you know, it's a First Amendment thing. You got to let them express their. But you're right. There are going to be some psychologists that agree with the developer of this game. Well, it'll give the sicko an avenue so that they won't actually exercise that at the school.
Yeah, it'll be a release.
Yeah. I went and shot a lot of ducks in the face with a 12-gauge shotgun because I was telling my FUD do it. It was a release for me.
After playing Duck Hunt.
Yeah, it was a release for me.
Nintendo.
Exactly. I knew when the dog would jump over, I went out there.
Okay, so kids, Duck Hunt on Nintendo is a game from years ago that you probably don't even remember.
That you literally shot ducks.
Yeah.
And a dog went and retrieved them and brought them back.
They were awesome.
And it was 8-bit and it was terrible graphics, but we thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I remember Pong.
Oh, so
I was alive before Pong.
So do I.
Yeah,
hey, I thought we were living the high life when I had a Commodore 64.
You were.
You could hook a keyboard up to your TV and type.
You must have been rich.
Oh, we were pretty good.
Yeah,
we were. You know, yeah. I mean, we had a summer house on a lake in Putnam County. Lived in Jacksonville.
Nice.
You know,
a lot of lakes in Putnam County.
A bunch of poor kids over in Putnam County growing up on places like Santa Fe Lake and all, but not me.
Well, Santa Fe encompasses Alachua, Putnam, Clay, Bradford.
The Graham family grew up on that lake, though.
Yeah,
they did pretty good too.
They're not real smart.
So let's talk about some of the people you've sent over the last 4, 5, 6, 9 weeks.
It's been gone that long.
It's been 7 weeks.
Oh, anyway, I'm sorry.
Who's counting?
Yeah, well.
We always make a good excuse for you. But you have had
lots
city
been going
council
on.
meetings and workshops. In your defense, you actually are required to be at the city council meetings and the workshops.
And with the School Safety Act that got passed.
Yeah, you've had to hire a lot of people. You're doing. It's
We've
not
been
like
busy.
it's not like you're sitting over in a room somewhere eating bonbons and drinking Diet Coke.
Well, if you ask my kids what I do all day, they say I sit in the office and play solitaire until I fall asleep.
You're gonna download a copy of Active Shooter.
No. I'll be the elite SWAT member.
Yeah, be the elite SWAT member. So we've had a lot of interesting people on. The last was Sergeant Updegraff, who is
Incredibly interesting, yes.
He's in professional standards and the SWAT team at the same time.
Yep.
And it just got me to thinking, the way you have a multifaceted approach, your department,
Yeah.
and it starts with you as the leader in the department, but everybody, the men and women, have to buy into the program. You have a multifaceted approach where you encourage the men and women in uniform of your office to get experience in different avenues all throughout the police department.
So one of the great things about our agency is, people think about Ocala and small town, small police department, and the reality of it is the average the average police department is 10 officers or less. We, with the School Safety Act, we've got 183 sworn officers. So we're not a New York or LA, right? I mean, we don't have 30,000 cops, but we're a pretty good sized department, mid-sized department. And because of that, we have all these specialized units. We have investigations, K9, SWAT. At one point we had bicycles. Eventually we'll have them back. SRO. We used to have sworn PIOs, professional standards, traffic, motorcycles, all that. We have all these different things in the organization you can do, and we encourage people. Look, if you got a passion, do something. Anything. If you want to be a K9 officer, you want to be a drug unit officer, you want to be a detective. If you got a passion for it, these are the things that you need to do to try to make yourself more marketable to get those positions. And as a result, there's usually quite a bit of movement in our organization. Especially right now, it is a kind of a scary time for us, but it is an incredibly exciting time for us.
Well, we talked about how you had with retirement and all, and you're going to face this in another 35 years. But you're in the process of right now not rebuilding the police department, but rehiring to replace people who time have caught up with.
And a lot of the men and women in the department that are being promoted or being moved are being promoted out of or into or out of specialized positions, which is opening up those positions for other people in patrol to move into, which is great. But I'll say this, that I came up through the department in investigations and administration. That's where I've been my entire career. Short stint in patrol, but I was never really a good patrol officer. I was always a better investigator. There are people that are better patrol officers than they are anything else. There are people that are better canine officers or traffic officers because that's what their passion is. So we encourage people, look, find your passion, and I've always been a firm believer is you find something that somebody's passionate about, you let them do it, and you ride them like Seabiscuit, right? It's like they make you look great. They make the department look great. They make the community look great. One of the things we just found out today, which I'm incredibly excited about, is the North Florida High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area initiative that goes on. It's centered out of Jacksonville, but we're part of the task force. They're actually asking for a little over $150,000 to start to do a heroin task force. And they want us to do it because they've noticed what we've done and how we've done it, where we go after the dealers for the overdoses that result in deaths, and charge them with homicide. So we're about to get more money from the federal government to do the program that we're already doing because of the passion that people had in the department. Now, if you had people in those positions that weren't passionate about what they do and how they do it, you wouldn't get the same results. So I'm a firm believer, look, if you want to do something, tell me what it is you want to do, let's work toward it, and if you have an opportunity to do it, then let's do it.
I was also, was not aware till we talked to Sergeant Updegraff last week that the SWAT team is made up of a group of men and women that aren't just SWAT members.
Right.
They actually have a primary job that they're expected to do exemplary work in, and then SWAT's their secondary job that they're supposed to be just as committed to.
Right. Yeah, our SWAT team is a part-time position. It's not like K-9 or motorcycles or detectives. So, there's people throughout the entire agency that are part of the SWAT team. Our professional standards, there's patrol investigations. Some of our SROs are SWAT members. Some of our traffic people are SWAT members as well, I think. Yes, they are. Our training people are SWAT members too. And it takes an incredible commitment on their part because, these guys and girls are on call all the time. There's never a time that they're not. So they've got to make sure that if they're not going to be in town or if they're doing something that they're not going to be able to make a call out, that somebody's going to be there just for them, because they're not going to be able to go out. So it is, now they get compensated for it, but it's a commitment.
Well, I know that Deputy Chief Mike Balkin was a member of SWAT at one time.
Yep.
Was Chief of Police Greg Graham ever a SWAT member?
I was not, ever.
Because I would think with your desire to water ski and to skydive and stuff like that, SWAT would have been something you'd have been a part of.
Yeah, I was never a SWAT member.
Not that you couldn't have been, you just chose not to go that avenue.
Early in my career, I tried out for it and didn't make it, and I never tried out for it.
You got a defeatist attitude. You're just like, whatever. They didn't want me, I don't want them.
Look, it was, something that I thought I may have had a desire to do, and I didn't.
Well, you were an investigative guy.
Yeah.
You did the investigation after SWAT calmed the scene.
And actually, it's been pretty funny over the years because all SWAT teams throughout the nation are the same way. They're very good at what they do, and they know they're very good.
And they're very good at letting you know they're very good at what they do.
Right. It's like somebody that does CrossFit. Don't ever ask them about CrossFit.
The one thing, the show SWAT with Shamar Moore and all on CBS. There's nothing about that show, police work-wise, that is accurate except for how they want to tell you how good they are at being SWAT members.
But I have to give them credit.
I've had
they are highly trained and incredibly impressive, and they know what they're doing.
I got two buddies of mine that are members of the Bullitt County SWAT team back in Statesboro, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And you go to the hunting club, which I don't hunt anymore because there's reasons that preclude me from, first off, having a firearm.
I get that.
But second off, I just don't. To me, a deer's running from you while you're shooting somebody that's running from you. But I like deer meat. I just don't like shooting deer.
I always thought it'd be fun to see how many guys would be out there, and girls, they'd be out there shooting deer if the deer had a gun.
to shoot back. But my two buddies that are members of the SWAT team, they inevitably usually get more deer than anybody else at the hunting club. And they tell you, well, we are SWAT. We're supposed to win.
Well,
they want to tell you how great marksmen they are and everything.
But they've put a lot more rounds downrange than you have.
I would venture to say it's kind of like I'm better at poker than most people because I've played over 3 million hands of poker. Right. They're probably a little better at shooting guns than most people because they've shot a lot more. So
it's funny because so I'm in my 36th year of law enforcement.
Right.
So I've sent many rounds down the range.
Certainly.
And I was at a firearms training not too long ago, and we set up this course, and all the new guys are there, and I'm there. But I figured I'd just go last, and it wasn't an easy course to get through. It was kind of difficult, and one of the first things you had to do is you had to shoot a metal plate at 50 yards. Well, when I first started in law enforcement, we had to shoot from the 50-yard line. Now you don't have to. So I'm used to shooting at that distance. And, these guys are wasting round and round and round, and they're not able to hit the plate. And, they go through, and I think, whatever it is, they go through it. So it's my turn, right? And they're all looking at me like, what's this old guy going to do? I get there, plink. What the heck was that? It's like, dude, it's not that I'm good. I've shot this before, so it's not anything that's foreign to me. But it's pretty funny to watch people's reaction. Before we let you go, let's talk about something that I know you're very passionate about, and it's coming up. I know there's no chance of anybody getting in because it's late May and it's already summertime. School's out, so the camps are booked. I know the camps are booked, but
Talk about the camps that that the police department offers and sponsors during the summer, and how important they are to the community, and how much fun the men and women in the police department have at these camps.
So, Police and Children Connecting is called PAC, the PAC camp. It is a blast. These kids, and we have all different age groups. They get to do all kinds of things. A lot of law enforcement stuff. They fingerprint, they photograph, they do crime scene stuff. We take them on field trips, and it is an incredibly, for the most part, it's an incredibly safe environment for the kids. We charge very little to do it. It's incredibly popular. In fact, we had to change the way we did our registrations because we would have parents lined up 24 hours in advance.
Oh yeah.
Looked
like they were camping out for concert tickets. Like Michael Jackson and Prince had come back from the dead, and we're doing a concert together.
And it's a lot of fun. It's fun for the officers too, because they get to interact with kids at a different level, in a different environment. Where they get to be themselves as opposed to being a cop, and it is a lot of fun. And we've done it now for, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years.
We've done it as long as we've talked on the radio
15,
or TV.
15 years, maybe more, because we did it before I left to go to Iowa.
I know here in late May, there's no chance that anybody's getting in. The
camp's full. We're full. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It actually starts June the 11th. I think is what I believe that's when it starts. Don't hold me to that.
Right.
But it's not next week, but the week after.
One more program that you do for the adults in the community.
Yeah.
Is there's an awareness program where as adults, is it a 12-week course that we can take to learn about
Police Academy?
The Citizens Police Academy. 12 weeks?
Yeah, we do that in conjunction with the city. The city actually runs it, and they're in it now. I'm not sure when the next one's going to start, but if people are interested in doing that, all they got to do is go to the City of Ocala website, ocalafl.org, and pull it up, and they spend one night that academy spends one night with us.
Just letting people know there's a lot more to the Ocala Police Department than just going out and making an arrest.
Yes, there is.
Chief Greg Graham, thanks for stopping by.
No problem, brother.
Now to this day in history. This day in history, if I don't poke my eye out first, is brought to you by the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. They're located at 3130 East Silver Springs Boulevard, right here in Ocala. Jason Linhart and his staff do a great job at the Ocala Golf Club. If you're looking for country club style golf at municipal prices, the Ocala Golf Club is the place for you. On this day in history, May 30th, 1886, a Georgia boy, or boy that grew up in Jacksonville, which is pretty much South Georgia. It's a very important day for somebody like me. May 30th, 1886, American chemist John Pemberton. Well, he starts advertising his invention, Coca-Cola, for the first time. That was May 30th, 1886. American chemist John Pemberton begins advertising his remedy for brain and memory loss. That's what he said. It was brain food, Coca-Cola. We all now know it is just something we have to drink. And when you walk in and say, I want a Coke, we have Pepsi products. I'll take a water. That's how it's done, folks. That was on this day in history, May 30th, 1886. Coca-Cola gets advertised to the masses. I'd like to thank Chief Police Greg Graham for coming by today for Cop Talk, and for Joe Rothenberger and his intern Charlie, who actually ran the show today. Joe did nothing. So for Charlie, who made me look and sound a whole lot better than I deserve, and for Joe giving her good tutelage back behind the scenes, I'm Tom Schmitz. Have a great afternoon, everyone.